Most people are afraid of being alone, not because solitude is painful, but because silence removes distraction. When you are alone, there is no noise to hide behind, no conversation to escape into, no constant stimulation to numb your thoughts. And that is exactly why being alone feels uncomfortable. But discomfort does not mean something is wrong. Often, it means something important is finally being heard. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. Loneliness is the feeling of being disconnected even when surrounded by people. Solitude, on the other hand, is the intentional choice to step away so you can reconnect with yourself. One weakens you. The other strengthens you. And in a world that constantly pulls your attention outward, learning to be alone becomes a necessary skill, not a flaw. When you are never alone, your identity slowly becomes shaped by reactions. You adapt to expectations, absorb opinions, mirror emotions, and adjust yourself to fit into conversations and environments. Over time, you may function well socially, yet feel strangely distant from yourself. Solitude interrupts that process. It gives you space to notice who you are when no one is watching, influencing, or expecting anything from you. Being alone forces clarity. Without distraction, patterns become visible. You begin to notice which thoughts repeat, which habits drain you, which desires are truly yours and which were borrowed from comparison. This clarity can feel unsettling at first, because it removes excuses. But it is also the foundation of real change. You cannot improve what you refuse to face, and solitude gently removes the option to avoid yourself. Growth requires periods of separation. Just as muscles need rest to grow stronger, the mind needs quiet to reorganize. Constant interaction keeps you reactive. Solitude makes you reflective. And reflection is where maturity is built. Not through dramatic moments, but through honest observation of your own behavior, limits, and responsibilities. Being alone also strengthens emotional independence. When you are constantly surrounded by people, your mood often becomes dependent on their presence, approval, or attention. Solitude teaches you to regulate yourself. To sit with discomfort without immediately fixing it. To experience boredom without escaping it. To feel sadness without outsourcing relief. This ability creates inner stability that no external validation can replace. There is also a deeper reason solitude matters. It reveals direction. When noise fades, priorities rise. You begin to sense what matters and what no longer deserves your energy. Many people feel lost not because they lack purpose, but because they are never quiet long enough to hear it. Solitude does not give answers instantly, but it creates the conditions where answers can emerge. Being alone builds self-trust. Every time you choose solitude intentionally, you reinforce the idea that your presence is enough. That you do not need constant stimulation to feel whole. This self-trust quietly improves decisions, relationships, and discipline. You stop chasing connection for reassurance and start choosing connection from strength. Importantly, being alone does not mean withdrawing from the world permanently. It means returning to it more grounded. Solitude is not an escape from life, but a way to engage with it more clearly. People who spend time alone tend to communicate better, set stronger boundaries, and tolerate less chaos. Not because they are distant, but because they know themselves. Many people fear that being alone will make them fall behind, miss out, or become disconnected. In reality, constant distraction is what creates stagnation. Solitude creates momentum. It sharpens focus, strengthens discipline, and restores a sense of direction that noise slowly erodes. If being alone feels uncomfortable, that is often a sign that it is needed. Not as punishment, but as recalibration. You don't need to isolate yourself for months. Even small, consistent moments of solitude create change. A walk without headphones. An evening without screens. Time where nothing is demanded of you except awareness. Being alone is not about becoming cold or detached. It is about becoming whole. When you can sit with yourself peacefully, relationships become choices rather than needs. Work becomes intentional rather than compulsive. Life becomes quieter, but clearer. If this perspective resonates with you, this channel explores these ideas more deeply. From solitude and discipline, to character, mindset, and personal growth built in quiet, honest ways. If you're interested in strengthening yourself from the inside out, consider subscribing to the channel. Not for noise, but for clarity you can return to when the world gets loud.